It's indeed a lovely day again today, Monday morning. It's nice to have you. Today, Monday, November 22, 2021. You're live on Aluri Radio, transmitting from the GSM Studio, Ministry of Information, Culture and Tourism, Agodi Secretariat, Ibadan, or your state, Nigeria. It's nice to know that you're there. Now we're on to the newspaper review from the studio. My name is Apoyedi Ojo, and with me is my darling colleague.
My name is Olamide Adeniji. You're welcome to yet another interesting edition of Aluri Newspaper Review.
All right, Lamide, let me start. I have the Punch with me here, and let's start with the burning story on the front page of the Punch newspaper for today, November 22. It says 90 ships seized by EFCC, rot away in Lagos. Others.
Okay, so I'm picking this first story from page 3 of the Nigerian Tribune. It says alleged hidden 19.3 billion naira Kogi attacks EFCC, demands retraction, links audio to Bello's 2023 ambition.
Okay, there's one story from Oyo State. It says Oyo predicts influx of investors, readies IPP December 2022.
And I have the story on the OAU postgraduate students, which says OAU postgraduate students autopsy holds today. NIPOST Postmaster General says justice will be pursued to logical conclusion.
Okay, let me just go on with you on that line here. Also on the front page of the Punch newspaper, actually on page 5, it says OAU students, family demands participation as autopsy holds today.
And then I have this very interesting one on the former governor of Ogun State, BC Akonde backs doctoral degree Saturday.
And here on page 2 says federal government rehabilitates 15,000 terrorists, 366 soldiers, policemen killed in 2 years. Can you imagine? In 2 years we have all that. That's interesting.
And on page 24, Osinbajo shuts down Abuja campaign office reports. We opened it for him, APC group.
On page 16 of the Punch newspaper, I have Lagos approves 135 private hospitals for COVID-19 vaccination. Okay, 6,000 naira fee. Also, I have here on page 3 says invading Cameroonians, rebels came by boat. And this is coming from Taraba community residents.
And then I'm bringing this from page 23 of the Tribune, Nigerian Tribune. New electoral bill, why Buhari must act immediately.
On issue of education, on page 3, Afe Babalola faults NUC inaction on illegal varsity, says damage huge.
Page 12 of the Nigerian Tribune, Oyo lawmaker trains constituents on fish farming, others.
Okay, I think we'll go on a short break. Please stay there. By the time we'll come back, we'll give you more headlines and we'll go to the details of the stories.
àṣà ò gbọ́dọ̀ wọlé gbẹ́yẹlé àṣà ò gbọ́dọ̀.
ẹ ǹlẹ́ bàbá àdìo ẹ wo aṣọ ọ̀gbẹ́yẹlé nìkan mọ́ nísìn ẹlẹ́yẹlé gan-an làṣà ń gbé ọ̀rọ̀ ojú òní ìmọ̀ wa rí yín fún. ṣe rí nígbà tí ìjọba kọ̀ tí ó sọ̀rọ̀ láwọn ọ̀dọ́ ti ṣaṣara bàgbó pé kí gbogbo àwọn oníṣẹ́ bí ó kù lágbègbè wa ni wọ́n bá níjọba sọ pé kámórí wá ká fọrùn lẹ̀.
tá ń sọ bẹ́ẹ̀ àdìo ìwọ náà sì tún pẹ̀lú ọ̀bọ jáwúra mi bí wọ́n mọ̀ pé nǹkan tíjọba àpínlẹ̀ ọ̀yọ́ ń sọ ni pé a lè fi nǹkan tó kù díẹ̀ káàtó ṣàtúnṣe nǹkan tí ò dáa ó dáa àdìo láti gbẹ̀ tí wàá déhùn ṣé eégún kan ti wá yọrẹ sí babaláwo yín bí.
rárá o bàbá.
ní nǹkan tó jẹ́ pé kẹ́yìn ọ̀dọ́ tó fọn níjọba ti yàwó tùlù fún ẹ̀ṣọ́ aláàbò àmọ̀tẹ́kùn pé kí wọ́n fi tọ̀gbẹ́ tààlà láti lé gbogbo àwọn ẹni ibi jáde ní kọ̀lọ̀fín wọn bẹ́ẹ̀ ló ṣètò ọlọ́pàá scrodom ibi fáàbò gbogbo wa nípìnlẹ̀ ọ̀yọ́ náà ni ṣèjọba tó wáá ṣèyún ní òwà rẹ̀ nìràn lẹ́rù ni ó tún mọ́ ọkọ̀ fẹ́ bí.
ọ̀rọ̀ yín yé mi bàbá àmọ́ ọ̀tọ̀ ní táwọn èèyàn mọ̀ ń wíìkì.
àwọn ará bíi ti tòṣèlú bọ̀ ọ́nù nígbà àtàkùté wọn mẹ́tẹ̀ẹ̀ta òde ó rí wọn lórí ẹ̀rọ ayélujára táwọn ti ròyìn òfegè ní ibi láti sọ̀jọba gómìnà Ṣèyí Mákindé ní súná bú ni.
bàbá kí làá wàá ṣe ṣé ẹ mọ̀ pọ́rọ̀ sọkúsọ bíi náà nú ẹ̀rùn ni.
ẹ̀yin ọ̀dọ́ tẹ́ ẹ nífẹ̀ẹ́ ìpínlẹ̀ ìpínlẹ̀ ọ̀yọ́ dénú náà ní kẹ́ ẹ sọ fún gbogbo òlù pé orí ìpinnu àṣà ò gbọ́dọ̀ wọlé gbẹ́yẹlé níjọba ìpínlẹ̀ ọ̀yọ́ dúró lé.
ó ti yé mi bàbá bó sì ń lọ rèé fọn rere rẹ̀ náà nu. iléeṣẹ́ ètò ìròyìn àṣà ohun ìrìn àjò afẹ́ tìpínlẹ̀ ọ̀yọ́ ló ń kéde.
bẹ́ẹ̀ ni kábíni sínú ọlọ́lá kò pé kéèyàn ó lọ́lá ká tọ́ni dàgbà nílé olókìkí kò pé ká yóò mànìyàn ṣùgbọ́n bí orí bá ti gbéni là á pè nílé àyànmọ́ èyí ló bí àkànṣe ètò tí a pè ní ipa tèmi fún ìdàgbàsókè ìpínlẹ̀ ọ̀yọ́ tí yóò máa dé sí etí ìgbọ̀nyín níkànnì Alóore rédíò níbi tí arábìnrin Yétúndé Fádípẹ̀ Ọládépò yóò ti máa gbàlejò àwọn tí wọ́n ti làmìlaka nínú iṣẹ́ tí wọ́n yàn láàyò iṣẹ́ ìjọba òṣèlú okòwò bí wọ́n ṣe gòkè àti àwọn ohun tí wọ́n fi kó ìjọba lọ́wọ́ lórí àwọn nǹkan kò ṣe má ní ládùúgbò tàbí àyíká ibi tí wọ́n tẹ̀dó sí láti mú ìdàgbàsókè tó lóòrìn bá ìpínlẹ̀ ọ̀yọ́ ipa tèmi fún ìdàgbàsókè ìpínlẹ̀ ọ̀yọ́ lórí Alóore rédíò ní gbogbo ọjọ́ ìṣẹ́gun aago 3 ọ̀sán títí di 4 gbẹ̀rẹ́ ẹ fi èrò yín àti àwọn ohun tí ó fẹ́ àtúnṣe ní agbègbè yín ránṣẹ́ sórí ètò lórí ìtàkùn àgbáyé www.aloreradio.com tàbí ìtàkùn ìbánidọ́rẹ̀ẹ́ Facebook Alóore rédíò ìdàgbàsókè ìpínlẹ̀ ọ̀yọ́ ló jẹ wá lógún.
Okay, you're welcome back to Alóore Newspaper Review. Do not forget you could join us on our social media platforms. On Facebook, you could join www.facebook.com/Alóore Radio. And on YouTube, you could also join us on YouTube, subscribe and follow us on YouTube, Alóore Radio. And you could also log on to our website, www.aloreradio.com. And you could also download our mobile apps on Google Play Store. And so right away, I'm going into the first story for today. Alleged hidden 19.3 billion naira. Kogi attacks EFCC, demands retraction, links its ordeals to Bello's 2023 ambition. Kogi State government on Sunday took on the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission over the claim that it returned 19.3 billion naira bailout allegedly hidden by it to the Central Bank of Nigeria, describing such statement as mischievous, false, and politically motivated. It described the development as part of the moves to thwart the presidential ambition of Governor Yahaya Bello ahead of 2023 elections. Okay, you can read more on this story on page 3 of the Nigerian Tribune.
Now going to the first story I have with me on the Punch newspaper. 90 ships seized by EFCC rot away in Lagos offers. Some of the ships seized by the Economic and Financial Crime Commission have begun to sink in waters across the country, while many of those temporarily and permanently forfeited by suspected corrupt persons have been damaged due to lack of maintenance. Sources in the know of the development at the House of Representatives said that the Nigerian Navy, which was mandated to oversee the seized, recovered or forfeited assets, had no budgetary provision to maintain them, leaving them damaged and submerged eventually. I believe there will be so many goods in those tankers, the ships that will just go down the drain. I pray that they will find a solution to that.
We hope so. And on page 2 of the Nigerian Tribune, Yoruba monarchs elders must talk to Buhari to effect Igbo's release. And that's coming from the Oluwo. Paramount ruler of Iwo land, Oba Abdulrasheed Adewale Akombi, has enjoined the Yoruba monarchs, elders and stakeholders to intercede with President Muhammadu Buhari on the release of the embattled Yoruba nation agitator Sunday Adeyemo, commonly known as Sunday Igboho. Oba Akombi said this at the weekend while calling for the release of Igboho, which he noted would go a long way in strengthening the unity of Nigeria. You may read more on the story on page 2 of the Nigerian Tribune.
Now let me take this rather interesting one on page 2 of the Punch newspaper. Says federal government rehabilitates 15,000 terrorists, 366 soldiers, policemen killed in 2 years. At least 366 soldiers, policemen, and members of the civilian joint task force were killed in ambushes laid by terrorists in the northeast and the northwest between 2019 and 2021. breakdown of the figure released by SBM Intelligence states that 337 soldiers, 29 corps, and civilians JTF members were killed, while 111 others were eliminated by terrorists. The report added that 92 terrorists were eliminated, while in all 569 persons were killed in several ambushes within the same period. If you want to know more of the breakdown of the rehabilitation of terrorists and those that were killed, turn to page 2 of the Punch newspaper.
Again, this is an interesting story on the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. Abiodun meets contractor, Federal Controller of Works over incessant accidents. Worried by the daily increase in loss of lives and property as a result of accidents along the Ogun State section of the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, Governor Dapo Abiodun at the weekend met with Federal Controller of Works Umar Bakari and representatives of the contractor handling the reconstruction of the expressway. Speaking after the meeting held at the governor's office, Okemoson Abeokuta, the Commissioner for Works and Infrastructure, Ade Akinsoya, who briefed the press, explained that the meeting facilitated by Abiodun was to map out strategies to reduce carnage on the expressway as a result of accidents, such as the recent tanker explosions at Okere section. You may read more on this story from page 2 of the Nigerian Tribune.
Moving on the newspaper review here on page 3 of the Punch newspaper says Afe Babalola falls NUC's inaction on illegal varsity says damage huge. The founder, Afe Babalola University, Ado-Ekiti, Are Afe Babalola, on Sunday bemoaned the inability of the National Universities Commission to sanction illegal universities in the country. Babalola also expressed disappointment with the approval by the National Assembly of one-subject universities in its members' constituency, as well as unsustainable state universities in governor's area, urging the NUC as the authorized approval body to authorized approval body, and I quote, to ensure that the conditions laid down in the law are strictly followed. For more on that story, turn to page 3 of the Punch newspaper.
Okay, I'm picking this from the 4th page of the Nigerian Tribune. 12,586 teachers sit for professional qualifying exams nationwide. A total of 12,586 candidates sat for the Teachers Professional Qualifying Examination (PQE) conducted by the Teachers Registration Council of Nigeria in 35 states, including the Federal Capital Territory. Director Certification and Licensing at the TRCN, Dr. Jacinta Ogboso, who revealed this, also disclosed that no candidate registered for the PQE in Zamfara State because of the security challenge. You may read more of the story on page 4 of the Nigerian Tribune.
And on this rather disturbing and such one, the OAU student family demands participation as autopsy holds today. The family of Timothy Adegoke, the deceased master student of the Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife, Osun State, has kicked against the plan to transfer the case to Abuja. The counsel for the family, Mr. Naim Adekilekun, in a letter to the Osun Commissioner of Police, Wale Olokode, expressed confidence in the ability of the State Police Command to unravel the mystery behind his death. Adegoke had gone to seat an examination at the OAU Distance Learning Center, Moro campus, when he was declared missing on November 7. For details of that story, turn to page 5 of the Punch newspaper.
Okay, Oyo lawmaker trains constituents on fish farming. Others, about 100 constituents were benefited from a 3-day skill acquisition training organized by the member representing Akinyele Lagelu Federal Constituency, Honorable Oluokun Akintola. The beneficiaries drawn from Lagelu and Akinyele constituency received the theoretical and practical teaching on cassava planting and fish farming. You may read more of the story on page 12 of the Nigerian Tribune.
Yeah, on page 3 of the Punch newspaper says cultists flee as police launch manhunt after undergraduate forceful initiation. Operatives of Ogun State Police Command have arrested 2 suspected members of Eye cult group for forcefully initiating a student into the group. The suspect, Owosheni Gbemisola and Ogunshola Ayo, were arrested on Friday following a report by a 21-year-old student of Olapisi Onabanjo University named withheld. The police public relations officer in the state DSP, Abimbola Oyeyemi, disclosed this in a statement. Oyeyemi said the victim reported at Agoiwe Divisional Headquarters that he was lured to Ijebu-Igbo by one Yemi Justice, Aka JP, under the pretense of going for a job. Details of that story could be picked up on page 3 of the Punch newspaper.
New electoral bill, why Buhari must act immediately. Following the transmission of the new electoral bill to the executive for assent, civil society partners on electoral matters have asked President Muhammadu Buhari to rise above allied political conspiracy threatening the legislation and sign the bill into law. The partners urged the president to demonstrate statesmanship, courage, avoid the needless governors versus National Assembly controversy, and side with the people of Nigeria who are eager to have the act in operation before the end of 2021. You may read more of the story on page 23 of the Nigerian Tribune.
Now before we go another short break, I quickly want to take the story on page 8, which says Oyo predicts influx of investors, readies IPP December 2022. Oyo State government says it has started working on an independent power project to increase electricity supply to businesses and households in the state. The Commissioner for Information, Dr. Wasiu Olatubosun, said this on Friday at the inauguration of 3 business in 1 by a seasoned communication expert, Omolareni Olaoshebikan, in Ibadan. Olatubosun said further the project had been given out and it will be ready for inauguration before the end of 2022. For details of that story, turn to page 8 of the Punch newspaper.
Okay, we will go on a short break, and when we return, we'll give you more stories.
ọgbà tí àṣejìná lòdì òrùnjẹ làwọn aláṣejòkòtì tí wọ́n fẹ́ máa jẹ ọba ni wọ́n ṣe gàyà díẹ̀ ná ìlú ló láṣẹ ẹjẹ́ ìlú ó jẹun náà ìdí nìyí tó fi jẹ́ pé ẹ̀tọ́ ìlú là ń fowó ìlú ṣe nípìnlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ ẹ̀rí bí ní ètò ẹ̀kọ́ wa ṣe ń jògèrè LAUTECH ti di tìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ ilé ìwòsàn alábọ́dé bíi 40 ló ti wẹ̀wù ọ̀tún pẹ̀lú àwọn òṣìṣẹ́ tòun tòògùn àti irinṣẹ́ tó kójú owó iṣẹ́ sì ti fẹ́ẹ̀ parí pẹ̀lú lórí 100 míì jákèjádò ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ ààbò tó dájú òun ohun amáyédẹrùn ní ìṣokùnfà ìdásílẹ̀ iléeṣẹ́ ńláńlá láwùjọ òun náà nípínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ fi wà nípò kẹta nínú àwọn ìpínlẹ̀ tí ń pawó wọlé jùlọ lábẹ́lé nílẹ̀ wa ọ̀pọ̀ ọ̀dọ́ ló ti láǹfààní ẹ̀kọ́ṣẹ́ iṣẹ́ àgbẹ̀ lọ́nà ti gbàlódé táṣeyọrí yóò sì jẹ́ kó ń jẹ́ sùn wá bọ̀ láìpẹ́ nípínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ àwọn òṣìṣẹ́ àtòṣìṣẹ́ fẹ̀yìntì ń gbowó wọn lásìkò pápá àṣírí Adámàsìngbà àtàwọn inú ojú pópó tí ń sòrú dọ̀sán ńkọ́ àwọn ìlú ti sọ pásì ìwádùn níṣèjọba yìí fi ń mọ rírì gbogbo àwọn aláṣẹ gómìnà Ṣèyí Mákindé ló ń sọ fún wa pé pẹ̀lú ìṣọ̀kan wa oòrùn tó kù lókè yìí ó táṣọ ọgbẹ.
iléeṣẹ́ ètò ìròyìn àṣà ohun ìrìn àjò afẹ́ tìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ ló ń kéde.
bẹ́ẹ̀ ni kábíni sínú ọlọ́lá kò pé kéèyàn ó lọ́lá ká tọ́ni dàgbà nílé olókìkí kò pé ká yóò mọ̀nìyàn ṣùgbọ́n bí orí bá ti gbéni là á pè nílé àyànmọ́ èyí ló bí àkànṣe ètò tí a pè ní ipa tèmi fún ìdàgbàsókè ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ tí yóò máa dé sí etí ìgbọ̀nyín níkànnì Alóore rédíò níbi tí arábìnrin Yétúndé Fádípẹ̀ Ọládépò yóò ti máa gbàlejò àwọn tí wọ́n ti làmìlaka nínú iṣẹ́ tí wọ́n yàn láàyò iṣẹ́ ìjọba òṣèlú okòwò bí wọ́n ṣe gòkè àti àwọn ohun tí wọ́n fi kó ìjọba lọ́wọ́ lórí àwọn nǹkan kò ṣe má ní ládùúgbò tàbí àyíká ibi tí wọ́n tẹ̀dó sí láti mú ìdàgbàsókè tó lóòrìn bá ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ ipa tèmi fún ìdàgbàsókè ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ lórí Alóore rédíò ní gbogbo ọjọ́ ìṣẹ́gun aago 3 ọ̀sán títí di 4 gbẹ̀rẹ̀ ẹ fi èrò yín àti àwọn ohun tí ó fẹ́ àtúnṣe ní agbègbè yín ránṣẹ́ sórí ètò lórí ìtàkùn àgbáyé www.aloreradio.com tàbí ìtàkùn ìbánidọ́rẹ̀ẹ́ Facebook Alóore rédíò ìdàgbàsókè ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ ló jẹ wá lógún.
Alore Radio, transmitting from the GSM Studio, Ministry of Information, Culture and Tourism. And you're still with us on the newspaper review with Aboyede Ojo and
Olamide Adeniji.
Damide, what do you have there?
Okay, this is coming from Ogun State. BC Akonde backs doctorate degree in political science. Former governor of Osun State, Chief Adebisi Akonde, will be conferred with an honorary doctorate award in political science by the Igbinedon University, Okada, Edo State, on Saturday. The event is scheduled for 10 a.m. as part of the 19th convocation ceremony of the university.
Okay, here on page 16 on health, says Lagos approves 135 private hospitals for COVID-19 vaccinations, okay, 6,000 naira fee. The Lagos State government has engaged 135 private health facilities for the administration of COVID-19 vaccine, saying this will strengthen the mass vaccination strategy targeted at 4 million residents by December 2021. The State Commissioner for Health, Professor Akin Abayomi, in a statement on Sunday said the number of public and private vaccination sites in Lagos was now 360. If you want to know more about how you can get vaccinated, please, in Lagos, read page 16 of the Punch newspaper.
Okay, going back to the OAU postgraduate students autopsy. This says OAU postgraduate students autopsy takes place today. NIPOS boss Adeosi Balogun called for speedy investigation. Osun State Police Commissioner Wale Olokede at the weekend said that the autopsy on the remains of Timothy Adegoke, the Master in Business Administration student of Obafemi Awolowo University Ile-Ife, who was killed last week, will be conducted today. Olokode, who made this known in Osogbo, also hinted that the force headquarters is not taking over the case as being rumored in some quarters. On the autopsy, the police boss said the autopsy would have been conducted last Friday at the Union Teaching Hospital Osogbo, but it was later shifted because the family of the deceased wanted a medical expert who would represent them during the procedure to be part of the medical team. Okay, you may read more of the story on page 29 of the Nigerian Tribune.
On a rather disturbing story again here on page 42 of the Punch newspaper, says gunmen kill lecturer student in Lagos school. A student, Razak Bakari, has been allegedly shot dead by gunmen who invaded the Michael Otedola College of Primary Health Education in the Ekpe local government area of Lagos State. Few hours after the undergraduate was killed, a lecturer, Hamed Zahid, lost his life when yet to be identified. Armed men allegedly attacked him around Poka town in Ekpe. The Punch gathered that the attacks, which occurred within the space of 48 hours, created panic that affected academic activities on the campus. For details of that story, turn to page 42 of the Punch newspaper.
Okay, on that sad note too, let me pick the story on a man that was found dead on an electric pole in Ogun State. A young man whose age could not be ascertained was found dead on an electric pole at Kobape area of Abeokuta, the Ogun State capital, on Sunday. You may read more of that story on page 26 of the Nigerian Tribune.
And as we round off today's newspaper review, I want to take the sports story, which says NFF considering Serbian Kazjastic to replace Roy. The Nigerian Football Federation is considering hiring Serbian Maldin Kazjastic as new head coach of the Super Eagles. The Punch has learned pressure has mounted on the NFF to sack Eagles head coach Gernot Roy after the national team put up an underwhelming performance against Cape Verde in their Qatar 2022 World Cup Group C final qualifier at Teslim Balogun Stadium, Lagos, last Tuesday. For details of that story, turn to page 43.
And from my end on sports, I'm picking the story on Makinde's gesture, a big challenge, 3SC GM. The general manager of the Shooting Stars Sports Club of Ibadan, Rashid Balogun, said the gesture of the Oyo State Governor, Engineer Seyi Makinde, is a big challenge for him as a person and the team as a whole. You may read more of the story on page 31 of the Nigerian Tribune.
We've come to the end of another interesting package of newspaper review on Aloro Radio. We thank you for being there, and as my dear colleague has said, that you can join on all the social platforms at Aloro Radio. I remain Aboyede Ojo. Thanks for being there.
Yeah, and from my end, I'm saying goodbye. And but before I go, let me remind you that you could also go on Google Play Store, download our mobile app, and follow us on Facebook, Aloro Radio, and on YouTube you could subscribe Aloro Radio, and on our website you could log on to our website and follow our activities on www.alororadio.com. Thank you for being with us always, and from my end I'm saying goodbye. My name is Olamide Adeniji.
àṣà ò gbọ́dọ̀ wọlé gbẹ́yẹlé àṣà ò gbọ́dọ̀.
ẹ ǹlẹ́ bàbá àdìo ẹ wo aṣọ ọ̀gbẹ́yẹlé nìkan mọ́ nísìn ẹlẹ́yẹlé gan-an làṣà ń gbé ọ̀rọ̀ ojú òní ìmọ̀ wa rí yín fún. ṣé ẹ rí i nígbà tí ìjọba kọ̀ tí ó sọ̀rọ̀ làwọn ọ̀dọ́ ti ṣaṣara bàgbó pé kí gbogbo àwọn oníṣẹ́ ẹbí ó kù lágbègbè wa ni wọ́n bá níjọba sọ pé kámúrí wá ká fọrùn lẹ̀.
tá ń sọ bẹ́ẹ̀ àdìo ìwọ náà sì tún pẹ̀lú ọ̀bọ jáwúra ní bí wọ́n mọ̀ pé nǹkan tíjọba ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ ń sọ ni pé a lè fi nǹkan tó kù díẹ̀ káàtó ṣàtúnṣe nǹkan tí ò dáa ó dáa àdìo láti gbẹ̀ tí wàá déhùn ṣé eégún kan ti wá yọrẹ sí babaláwo yín bí.
rárá o bàbá.
ní nǹkan tó jẹ́ pé kẹ́yìn ọ̀dọ́ tó fọn níjọba ti yàwó tùlù fún ẹ̀ṣọ́ aláàbò àmọ̀tẹ́kùn pé kí wọ́n fi tọ̀gbẹ́ tààlà láti lé gbogbo àwọn ẹni ibi jáde ní kọ̀lọ̀fín wọn bẹ́ẹ̀ ló ṣètò ọlọ́pàá scrodom ibi fáàbò gbogbo wa nípìnlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ náà ni ṣèjọba tó wá ṣe yùn ní òwà rẹ̀ nìràn lẹ́rù ní òtún mọ́ ọkọ̀ fẹ́ bí.
ọ̀rọ̀ yín yé mi bàbá àmọ́ ọ̀tọ̀ ní táwọn èèyàn mọ̀ wíìkì.
àwọn ará bíi ti tòṣèlú bọ̀ ọ́nù nígbà àtàkùté wọn mẹ́tẹ̀ẹ̀ta òde ó rí wọn lórí ẹ̀rọ ayélujára táwọn ti ròyìn òfegè ní ibi láti sọ̀jọba gómìnà Ṣèyí Mákindé ní súná bú ni.
bàbá kí là á wàá ṣe ṣé ẹ mọ̀ pọ́nrọ̀ sọkúsọ bíi náà nú ẹ̀rùn ni.
ẹ̀yin ọ̀dọ́ tẹ́ ẹ nífẹ̀ẹ́ ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ dénú náà ni kẹ́ ẹ sọ fún gbogbo òlù pé orí ìpinnu àṣà ò gbọ́dọ̀ wọlé gbẹ́yẹlé níjọba ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ dúró lé.
ó ti yé mi bàbá mo sì ń lọ rèé fọ rere rẹ̀ náà nù. ilé iṣẹ́ ètò